Welcome to the Raising Mothers podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kahn. I'm a wife, a mama to two, and a certified conscious parent coach practitioner. It is my mission to guide mothers in transforming the way they connect, communicate, and collaborate with their teen. Every week, I will be bringing you inspiring, empowering, and educational episodes that will give you the tools you need to consciously raise your teenager. All right, let's do this. I have a question for you. Have you ever had this blah feeling? Just blah. There's really no other way to explain it than blah. You're feeling off, you're not feeling yourself. There's just right? Blah. If you have experienced this feeling before, can I just say that it is completely normal? Why? Because you are human. And if you're listening to this right now and you're like, actually, I've never experienced blah in my life, I want you to take a pause and I want you to check your pulse and make sure that you're breathing. Because if you are human, at some point in your life, you are going to have this blah feeling. The cool thing about this feeling, or this feeling of being uncomfortable, though, is that it is actually a gift or an opportunity for the next best version of you to bloom. For me personally, I have noticed that when I have this blah feeling, it typically creeps up when I'm in times of transition, or I'm shifting into a new season of motherhood, or a new season for me personally. This blah feeling typically comes up when I'm shifting, healing, and growing. And what I've come to notice is that this blah feeling that arises is actually a signal to me to be like, hey, Ash, pay attention, because something's happening here that you need to become aware of. And there is some root that needs some nurturing, healing, shedding, shifting, and growing. To be completely transparent and honest with you guys, I have recently experienced this blah feeling over the past few months. And that is why I wanted to come on here and share with you guys what I have applied in my life to help me from going from feeling blah to feeling because I know that if I experience this and have experienced it in the past and it's coming up again, then chances are you have experienced it or might even be experiencing it now. And also, to be completely honest, when this feeling arose a few months ago, it was so confusing to me because I'm like, everything in my life is great. And in fact, I'm in a season of my life where there has never been more peace, stability, and joy. Life just seems so much easier in this season. And so I was so confused like, what is happening? Why do I have this blah feeling on the inside when everything on the outside is good? And I don't know, maybe you've experienced this too. Maybe you've experienced your life, nothing's wrong, but yet something feels wrong inside. And again, I just want to normalize that that is a totally normal feeling. And more often than not, you're going to experience it at least once in your life, but in reality, multiple times in your life. Inner shifts and transformations are so exciting. They're so exciting because when they happen, it is this exciting place to be in because you know what's going to come on the other side. You know that you are this butterfly, this larva that is going to transform into this beautiful butterfly, and the next best version of you is going to blossom. And while that's super exciting, we're human. And it's also really, really freaking hard. It's hard because it's so uncomfortable. And as human beings, any change, even if it's for good, can be uncomfortable. And usually we resist it. And I know for me in my life, I used to resist it. I used to have this uncomfortable or blah feeling, and I would just like search like crazy for things to just fix it and suppress it. Like, who has time to feel uncomfortable? Not me. But then, like I said, I started to use that blah feeling or this feeling of being off as a signal like, hey, Ash, this is actually a really, really awesome opportunity for you to grow and shed what no longer serves you, break old patterns and habits, and create new healthy patterns and habits. And so, while yes, it is so uncomfortable, and there's things that you can implement into your daily life to help you get through these seasons, it is 100% necessary and so liberating to go through these seasons of growth. And that blah feeling is just simply a signal of like, hey, that we're going to start some transformation here. When we have these feelings, like I said, I've always wanted to fix it in the beginning, right? And so as humans, we immediately start looking to our outside world of what could be contributing to this feeling. Because if I can find something on the outside that is this contributing factor for how I'm feeling on the inside, then I can fix it, right? So we start to play the blame game. Maybe you've done this before. Maybe, the blame game looks like this. My teenager has been super rude lately, and so that's why I'm feeling off. Or my teenager doesn't even talk to me. Or maybe, yeah, they don't even talk to me. That's why I'm feeling off. I'm feeling disconnected to my teenager. Or maybe it's financial woes. Or maybe you're overcommitted and you're burning the stick at both ends and you're exhausted. Maybe you keep saying yes to these things that really intrinsically you know you should say no to. Your body's like, no, I don't feel like doing that. I don't have time for that. I'm exhausted. Please say no. But then you end up saying yes. You end up saying yes out of fear of what other people will think, right? So we start to look outside of us for all of the reasons why we are feeling icky on the inside. But here's the deal. While all these things may be true, right? Maybe you do have financial woes. Maybe you are overcommitted and you're exhausted, burning the stick at both ends. Maybe your teenager isn't talking to you, or maybe your teenager is talking to you in a rude way, right? Or what you see as disrespectful. Those things can absolutely be true. But the real root to this blah feeling that we feel on the inside is never rooted in our external environment or in our relationships. The real root to this feeling is always, always rooted on the inside. Something within us is being pushed and poked at, making us feel off and making us feel blah. And that is a signal that our body and our mind is like, hey, pay attention. Something is happening here. Something no longer serves me, and I need you to take a look at it and release it. Maybe it is a relationship. Maybe you need to start saying no. And so today I want to share with you the 3 things that I personally applied over the last few months to help me go from blah to feeling awe. And these 3 things are: number 1, boundaries; number 2, connection; and number 3, self-care. Whenever you are feeling off, take a look at these 3 areas of your life and see what needs to be nurtured and made a priority. So let's look at boundaries. Number 1, boundaries. Ask yourself, am I doing for everybody else what they can actually do for themselves? Ask yourself, is this an opportunity to teach my kids a skill that maybe they don't yet know, and they can feel empowered to start doing X, Y, and Z by themselves? Ask yourself, am I trying to control everything yet feeling so out of control? Ask yourself, do I need to create more intentional time and boundaries for myself to be able to reset and recharge? Take an honest inventory in your life and look at all areas of it and see where boundaries need to be made. Maybe you need to set a boundary in having time with your spouse because you're feeling so disconnected with your spouse and you need to rekindle the relationship. Maybe it's setting the boundary if for um, with your kids and their phones so that you have more intentional time to connect. Maybe it's boundaries with homework, and instead of putting it off creating time and space to get it done so you have more family time together. Maybe it's a boundary and you realize you're overcommitted as a family and everyone is burning the stick at both ends. And maybe you need to start saying no to extracurricular activities and kind of rein it in a bit. What areas in your life feel out of control and need some boundaries? The second thing that you can implement when you're feeling blah is taking a look at connection. We were made as human beings to connect with one another. And all too often, because we live in a culture that is go, 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 go 24/7, we live in a culture that is so connected virtually, yet we are so disconnected person to person. And as a result, we actually disconnect from ourselves too. So ask yourself, where in my life am I missing connection? And where in my life can I start to implement connection? Maybe it's calling a girlfriend a few times a week and reconnecting with them. Maybe it's asking someone to go for a walk with you. Maybe it's at dinner time setting a boundary and ensuring that everyone puts their phones away so that you all have time to intentionally connect with one another. Maybe it's letting the laundry sit for an extra 10 minutes so that you can intentionally connect with your child. Maybe it's slowing down in your daily to-do list and your daily chore list so that you can reconnect to yourself, reconnect to nature, reconnect to God. Take a look in your life and ask yourself, where am I craving, needing more connection? And the third thing that you can implement into your life when you're going through these seasons of blah is self-care. Now, self-care is going to look different in every season of life, right? As a teenage mom, my self-care is listening to audiobooks in the car because I'm always driving. So I'm like feeding my mind. Self-care right now looks like meditating and closing my eyes, but I don't always have an hour to do it. So it's doing it when I can. Self-care is making sure I move my body every single day because I have realized for me personally, it's what my soul needs to thrive. Self-care in this season for me is being confident and okay with asking for help because I know that I can't do it all on my own. Self-care in this season of my life specifically is making sure I go to bed at 10 because my body has been needing more sleep lately. Every season of life is going to require a different version of self-care. And so many people say like a mani-pedi is not, they say it's self-care, but they're like, you need other self-care. But sometimes a mani-pedi as self-care feels really freaking nice. When you are thinking about self-care, I want to encourage you to hit 3 aspects of your life: mental, physical, emotional, actually 4: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So physical can be a mani-pedi. When you are having these blah seasons in your life and feeling off, instead of looking at everything on the outside, because sometimes it can be just great, right? Start looking, turning your gaze inside in your inner world and asking yourself, where do I need more boundaries? Where do I need more connection? And where can I implement more self-care? When you are taking care of yourself in all 3 of these aspects on a daily basis, sure, you might feel blah, but you're not going to stay stuck in that blah moment. I'm literally so excited that you took the time to hang out with me here in this space, and I would absolutely love to connect with you more. You can find me on Instagram or visit my website at ashleycahn.co. That's ASHLEYKAHN.co. I'll see you there.